Sri Haldia, Mr. Sharad Jaipuria, my fellow panelists in the other sessions, officials from the Ministry of Finance, my colleagues from SEBI, my ex-colleagues from SEBI, invited ladies and gentlemen, and friends from the media. I'll start with a disclaimer that although the topic is about capital market frauds, I would like to confine myself to securities market frauds. It's a different matter that even if there is some incident of anti-money laundering or some incident of income tax violation, or somebody has sold something wrong, somebody has not honored a contract, the first question which is being asked in this country today is, what is SEBI doing, or is SEBI sleeping? I will seek your indulgence that allow me to concentrate only on matters of the securities market. Mr. Sahu has given a very good example about and tried to compare it to the swimming. The problem which I find in dealing with securities market fraud or incidents of dealing in the securities market are that there are several occasions when it is very difficult to identify who is the victim, against whom this fraud has been committed or the irregularity has been committed. And secondly, even if you are able to know, somebody is able to know, is that victim aware of it? First is to identify who can be possible victim, and second is the awareness of the victim. Look at the LIBOR example, which has happened in a very big way. Now, if that incident was not unearthed by the regulators, nobody would have known that such an incident was happening and that they were the victims. Nobody would have known what is the amount to which they have been duped. So this incipient nature of the things which we are dealing in the securities market is also very important. And we have to keep that in mind. My earlier speakers have tried to categorize frauds in various types. I'll attempt it from the point of view of SEBI perspective. One category which I have in mind is what I can call the trade-related. The frauds which are happening on account of irregularities or frauds attempted while doing the trade. I'll give you some example. This is not an exclusive or exhaustive example. For example, synchronized trading or a structured trading. And we know that in the past at least there were several attempts to do it on a continuous basis. My understanding is that to some extent it has now got reduced in India. Then there are examples of circular trading. Instead of doing a synchronized trading, a group of people all over the country, they come together and do synchronized circular trading. Then there are price manipulations through aggressive price bidding. Then marking the close in the last half an hour of the closer. Then spoofing the market, especially using high frequency trading. Now these are incidents which are happening not only in India, but even outside India in a big way. But the good thing from my point of view is that whatever anybody might try, and some of these are really very, very smart people, it is possible to detect them. Maybe not while it is happening, but if after the incident also it is possible to detect them. We have a very sophisticated surveillance mechanism. We have a data warehousing mechanism. Exchanges have got that mechanism. Trails are possible, audit trails are possible, records are there which can be verified. So the important thing is that if somebody is trying such an activity, it is possible to note there. In fact, our systems raise those alerts, and those alerts can be captured, and based on those alerts, we start an investigation. To give you an idea, every day, SEBI system generates about 100 alerts. And we carry forward each and every of those alerts. Those alerts are obviously based on certain parameters that we have designed. And every day there are about 8 to 10 alerts which we take to the next level. And some of these lead to investigation or any other enforcement action from our side. The second category of offenses or fraud attempts which happen in the securities market are information based. For example, somebody is making a false corporate announcement, an announcement regarding some large order that the company has received, or even managing some of its financial results, announcing some of the merger and acquisitions which are perhaps non-existent. These are examples where I would like to make a point to our friends from the media as well, that these are examples which have to be taken with a pinch of salt. There should be some minimal attempt to verify them, because once these are publicized, people take note of it, things happen. I would like to highlight here that we have got about 41 examples where, based on what is reported in the media, either the volumes have gone up immediately or the prices have moved substantially in the immediate future, and later on the information has been found to be wrong. What we have done from our side is that we have been talking to the National Broadcasting Standard Board of India, primarily with a view to providing them, requesting them to provide some sort of a benchmark or a standard setting in this area. We also had 2 conferences with the media in Delhi and in Mumbai. I have been assured by all the top management of all the media houses that now they have got their internal benchmarks and do's and don'ts. So it's not as a matter of complaint, it's by way of making a point that what is understood at the heat of the moment to get ahead of our competitors and reported as such may perhaps have very, very serious unintended consequences. We also have examples in this category of front running. We have examples of insider trading, examples of mis-selling, especially by mutual funds and by others also. And the question of suitability has been brought in by SEBI in its regulations, PFUTP regulations. We have brought in that concept now. And there are also instances of incomplete or misleading disclosures. For example, promoters do not report what percentage of their shareholding they have pledged to the lenders. And I have some colleagues from the legal profession sitting here. I don't blame them, but some creative solutions have been invented in this country, whereby instead of saying it as a pledge, some new words have been coined so that they don't come under the definition of pledge. SEBI has tried to plug that loophole by saying that all encumbrances will also have to be reported. So this is an example of where the information-based frauds are being attempted, and in my view, these are the most difficult ones to detect. Although we try, we attempt, we meet people, but unless we receive some information, some complaints, it's very difficult. While the first type, that is the trade side, even if something serious has happened, it is possible for us to detect. These are the difficult ones. And here we need the cooperation from everybody in this room and outside this room. And then there is a third type, which is the corporate governance based. For example, the schemes of arrangement and mergers and acquisitions which are being attempted or have been attempted in the past. SEBI has got definite examples where a company, a private company owned by the promoters, was valued at a substantially high price, and then that company was either taken into the group or it was hived off, and the main business was hived off to that group. So that at the cost of the retail or minority shareholders, big value was transferred to their own group companies. And I must clarify here that such instances which have come to our notice are not necessarily confined to the promoter-driven companies. We have got examples where even multinational companies have attempted this. So it's not only a case of saying that this is one class of promoters who are doing it. Then now the question of fake share certificates are no longer there, but we know that these were serious matters in the 90s, and after the Dematerialization Act and to a very great extent these things have been curtailed, but I won't say that this has been curtailed 100%, because even today one can have some physical shares. Then there is the question of trying to generate a gray market in the IPO, having misstatements in the IPO, manipulating the IPO. Vivek is here, and Vivek had done a very good sting operation about how there are operators in the market who invite people for business so that they can manage an issue. And they charge hefty commission and all, and I'm grateful to him for bringing it to SEBI's notice, and we were able to take action in such cases. And in the last category of frauds concerning securities market, I would say completely illegal activities like dabba trading or running an illegal collective investment scheme. Now, in this category of cases, the question is, what can SEBI do or what SEBI has been doing? I would like to give you some flavor of the type of cases we have dealt with without getting into full details, because that will be not necessary and it will be very long as well. We had an example of an IPO investigation where, like earlier, a point was made that the whole structure disappeared, the building disappeared. We had in this case where the merchant banker and the promoter claimed that they have a plant and machinery in such and such place in the country. The IPO was allowed. Obviously, there were serious fluctuations after the IPO was through. And when we started an investigation and sent our team there, we found that there was no plant, no machinery, nothing.